wanted to make a video. And it's funny because I don't even know where to look at in the camera. Should I look? If I look right at me, I'm not seeing me. If I look at the camera, then I can't see me. So I will stick to kind of looking at myself. Uh, it's been a while since I wanted to make a video, and I'm just gonna have to start doing it. I do. Hold on. I love water. My daughter gave me this because she's works at Dunkin's. And I went to her house and I was visiting her, and I'm like, asked about the cup, and she said, "You can go have it. Me and Frank already have one." So I use it like every day because it holds so much water, and took it to the fair, and it's actually insulated. Um, well, uh, Lloyd's out of jail, and since knowing him and living with us twice, this is his second time being arrested for violation of parole, and he's out, and got the phone call yesterday from his parole officer, and my son Dedrick is scared. And I said, Dedrick, when they released him back in January, he knew his brother's phone number, he knew our address because he was living with us. Excuse me, that water. And I said they ended up a LA-based photographer. I think his name's Raw Life on Instagram. He took a picture of him because he has a large love tattoo on his cheek, and he was a tree by the cross, and he took a picture of him. And somebody saw it, recognized his face from the missing posters put up all over the internet in towns, and that's when we got the first clue that Lloyd was in Los Angeles. Oh, I don't try not to make long videos, and so we went. Well, the family went, and Nephin went. I was working during the week, so I couldn't go, and so the very first weekend, actually, I put in for that Friday off. And I ended up having to do it twice in February. I put in the Friday off. The boss let me go, and she let me leave Thursday early after I got out of my area. And when I first landed in Skid Row, well, Los Angeles, when I first got off Los Angeles, very, very early in the morning. And I remember, like, walking to the hotel, and it took a while to get there. I mean, I had a big old backpack on. Neff let me borrow his Go Right pack, and then I had my Camel pack as well attached to that, so then I can leave the bigger bag at the hotel and then take my smaller one with me through the city. And so I went to the hotel, and check-in wasn't until I think 3. No, I think 11. And I mean, we're talking about like 8 o'clock. No, it must have been later. I think it was 3 o'clock check-in. I'm not too sure. I remember like having to carry the bag most of the day. And no, it must have been 11 because I walked the streets for hours, and I don't remember the backpack on me heavy. Because I remember in one of the streets, Gladys Street, I was crying. But I remember being like hunched over on the curb, so I wouldn't be able to curve over if I had the bigger bag. Anyway, I checked, and I remember walking around the city with the backpack though. And I mean, we're talking about Hill, I think, gosh, I can't remember the very first park I went. I already had it all mapped out how I was going to do my route. And it's almost like a big square all the way back around to the hotel. And so walked all the way up to whatever that park is. Really nice park. It's actually patrolled by security and has a pond and a Starbucks in it. I remember like taking pictures and walking and asking all the parking enforcement right there because it's by the jail and the courthouse and everything. If they seen him, talking to him, and mind you, I've always been a shy person. Never been able to really go up to anybody and just ask them random stuff. But in November, I woke up with a flame in my heart. And anyone who believes in God knows what I'm talking about. And I've known God almost my whole life, and I've had a relationship with Him here and there. And at one time, I myself was angry at Him. And it was just like a back and forth relationship like that. And seeing my mom pass away and how she lost her faith, and even though my relationship wasn't always there with God, He was still always taking care of me. No matter what, He was always there, and still is. And when I woke up in November, I wasn't I wasn't broken. I'm not lost in my life, and I live a pretty decent life. Can't really complain. I'm not a bad person. Love my kids, love my job. And I woke up with a little flame in my heart, and it's been years since I think the very first flame is when you very first get saved and you have the flame in you that's really strong, and that's why when you see people today that are all giddy like that, it's like, oh, you just must have been saved. And that was my impression of back then. And yeah, just like everything over time, you get comfortable and you do your stuff. And I'm just speaking for myself, I'm not speaking for anybody else. And everybody's different, and I would love to hear the people's stories of their walk and their faith and where they are today. I haven't sat down with anybody to ever ask anybody in person, but I am right now. And I started to slowly change, and I listened to that flame, and I started to change and get a voice and stand up for myself in a very positive way. And I can tell you, some people didn't like the change. It's like, why? I'm standing up for myself. I'm telling you, I'm not liking this conversation. I'm not. This goes for anywhere, even talking online. It's like, because there's online bullies out there, and I start standing up for more or less the people online than people here. And even my relationship with Neff got better, and I've been slowly changing, and I love that change. And so when I landed there in February looking for Lloyd, at this point I was already had all that under my belt. And so I landed in Los Angeles, walked the city, went to the library, and I met a guy there, and he was homeless. Gosh, I wish I could remember his name. I was just so overwhelmed with everything, but I'll remember his face. And I started talking to him what I was doing. I told him where I needed to go, which was Skid Row. And nothing ever compares you to seeing Skid Row. Nothing. You can watch TV, you can see pictures, and nothing compares you for seeing it in person. Gosh. I started walking the street, and he took me all the way down, and the kids would actually love this library. It's like 4 stories, or it's humongous. And what I've learned in the city, that there's really no place to charge your cell phone. There's no restrooms. There's no water. There's no parks. There's no streams, no rivers. And being in the city, time is different. I just speak for myself and what I've seen. And time
different. It seems always so later than what it is, like hours later. And both my kids had commented on that when they had went their their turn. And time is different in the city, and the sun just there's place in the city the sun will never see, you know. And so walk the city, walk streets, ask anybody and everybody if you've seen him. And this is something I never would have been able to do in the past before I woke up in November in that flame. And and I was so comfortable just walking the city doing that, carrying the backpack. And I thank God for cell phones and Google Maps, because I was able to see where all my distance was, mile time wise. So I made my way back to the hotel. I checked in, and at this point it's like, thank God I have a room. And I put my stuff down, got my transferred stuff over to backpack to my CamelBak, and uh, I set out. And I actually had rain boots because according to the weather it's supposed to be rainy and have my rain boots on, but I I couldn't last probably another hour. I went to one store, they didn't have my size, went to the store and I got Skechers memory foam. And they are I have like $40. They are the best shoes I have bought. I mean, I when I do like jogging and climbing and all that, I do New Balance. But when I get more better into all that, more experience, I'll definitely get more professional advice on shoes and stuff. And they're the best shoes. I wear them to work. I wear them to every trip to Los Angeles. Ever I go, I'm gonna have a lot of walking. I'll wear them. They're Skechers